Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode in what I'm going to now call my QuestScape series, as I am trying to work towards a double QuestScape in both old school Runescape and RS3. Today I did Rune Memories, which is a Runescape 3 exclusive sequel to Rune Mysteries. Pretty good quest. Unfortunately, I can't do a comparison obviously with it, so this will be just a straight review. I've decided that instead of cutting out specific parts of the video, I'm just going to speed up the more boring bits so that you can get a pretty full appreciation for how long this quest took. It's supposed to be kind of a replacement if you have already done the quest a long time ago, can barely remember it, or if you just have no interest in playing the quest yourself. And I'll, of course, commentate over the important bits. So here we go. Right off the bat, I had a hard fucking time finding where to start this quest at, just because the Wizard's Tower is completely different from how it used to be. The quest selection screen said that you have to go to the basement of the Wizard's Tower, but that is absolutely not where it used to be. It took me a little while even just to find the stairs to go down. And immediately, it's a pretty beautiful area. It kind of doesn't even seem like RuneScape to me. It looked like something I would expect out of a different MMO. To officially start the quest, you got to talk to somebody named Arian, which just kind of makes me feel dirty just saying that. So she picked a great name. And she's trying to unlock the secrets of the Wizard's Tower, which I appreciate. I'm here for the lore, and I really like how they've started to expand what the original lore of the Wizard's Tower was. Because at first, I mean, back when I played RuneScape a lot in elementary school, didn't feel like there was all that much here. So props to them for being able to add a little bit more here. So Arian, she wants to release some kind of spirits into the Wizard's Tower, I guess, to be able to understand better the history of it, but she's kind of stupid and just walks straight into the beam of high energy, which I just don't know why anyone would ever think that that's a good idea. And of course, the task falls to you to save her ass. Thankfully, you can make your character in-game call her careless, so at least our RuneScape character is a little bit smarter than she is. She, for some reason, thinks that if you can recreate the ritual that originally created the power beam, then you can somehow release her from that. Then, despite being restrained, she is able to hand you runes magically, and you use them on the vortexes nearby her in order to recreate memories, pretty much, from the past. And throughout the course of the quest, they show you how to eventually recreate the thing that created the power beam. With these soul fragments, you got to go to certain parts of the area and put them on things in order to recreate those memories. Thank God they recreate the exact specific memory that's needed, so otherwise this would have been a horrible fucking plan, but it works out just as she had hoped. Back in the day, I guess there was 4 different branches of the Wizard's Tower, and they all created their own different runes and spells. So like Zaramok, he created the combat spells, and the fire runes and chaos runes, and so on and so forth for Gothic, Sardoman, and like an unaffiliated branch of some more minor gods. So I think that adds some lore, stuff I wasn't personally aware of beforehand. Here we got the first memory in the quest that we get to explore. In this one, it's May the Grey and Caravan the Red, the 2 apprentices of those respective branches of magic, talking about the teleportation problem. Basically, the red dude, he's trying to create a spell, an attack spell that can bypass defenses, and in doing so, he inadvertently pretty much solved the original problem of teleportation, which apparently that was a big issue back in the day. Dumb fuck May decides to take their newfound solution and take it to the head wizard of the green denomination of wizards, and this ends up being a really dumb idea a little bit later in the future. Now our character goes back and talks to Arian again, and basically just has to collect the other soul fragments in the area to go trigger yet another memory. Now, me being the dum-dum that I am, it took me absolutely forever to find where I had to go next. Embarrassingly long, so I'm gonna speed this one up for you. Now, this puzzle here really pissed me off because I thought it was going to be more complicated than it actually was, so I was overthinking it way too much. In reality, it is a really fucking simple puzzle. Arian said that you have to put the correct rune in front of the correct statue, and you have to pick from either the nature, cosmic, law, or chaos. So I was examining the statues, trying to figure out how their descriptions could possibly be matched with one of those 4 runes. The statues had descriptions like, she holds a cup that's pouring magical water. So of course it sounds like a water rune, but I was trying to figure out how it fit within one of those 4. And it took me fucking forever to figure out that all it was referring to was to match it with the same colored rune that's in your inventory. Like, there's 2 blue runes, one of them's a water one, the other one's a law rune, and that's how they're connected. There's no further symbolism, you're just matching fucking colors in your inventory. I think they had a lot of potential for something cool in this part of the quest. Like, this should have been a more decently well thought out puzzle, but in the end, it just was shallow. So shallow, just like the rest of RS3. Once you figure that puzzle out, though, it's time for another memory. This time we discover that the leader of the Green Wizards is going to take credit for the discovery of how to do teleportation. You know, maybe it would be a good idea to not share your ultra-secret spells with the enemy factions. That might just be common sense. Now we go back to Arian and onwards to yet another memory. This time we had to take both of the 2 different fire runes and put them in front of each other in one of the study rooms. This took me a little while to figure out, but I was just being stupid. I just needed to talk to Arian, and she would explain it pretty clearly, so I wasted a little bit of time there. In this next cutscene, it's revealed that Zanmaron the Red, the master of the Red Wizards, he discovers that his apprentice shared the information with the others and that he was the actual creator of the teleportation spell, and gets pretty pissed at him, basically, and rightfully so. He seems to be pretty much the only one that's actually smart here. He goes on to say that he's going to fix the one little problem that they had with the spell as it was, which is how to actually do the teleportation. You needed to get a new plane of existence, and he was going to figure out how to do that part by summoning a demon to help him. In order to trigger the next memory, we need to put 5 different runes back on the same table that we were at earlier. And this time it's a cutscene that reveals that the leader of the Red Wizards had actually discovered how to successfully do the teleportation spell. And he lays out kind of the beginnings of the ritual that they need to complete that. From here, we got to talk to Arian again, and she's going to have us go collect little pieces of paper to try to figure out how exactly that ritual was structured, you know, in order to break her free. While running around and collecting all these little pieces of paper, we stumble upon a suspiciously well-preserved diary that seems to imply that the apprentice of the Red Master is going to basically fuck over everybody by killing them and blowing up the Wizard Tower. So we're being led to believe that the Red Wizards are evil. We'll see in a little while that this is not quite true. Arian now instructs us to recreate the ritual by putting the runes in the correct spots. And overall, this was a nice little puzzle. One issue with it, though, is that it saves it until the very end to tell you that the Red Master rune needs to be put at the southern end of the ritual circle. It could have saved me so much fucking time if they had just said that right off the bat. Because I went into this assuming that the beginning of it could be oriented in any direction. So I ended up having to redo the entire circle after realizing that there was a specific starting point. Not sure why they wanted the very last of the 5 pages that you find to be the one that says that. In the subsequent recreation of the ritual, it comes out that this is the moment where they finally decided to tell the truth onto who actually made the teleportation spell. And in doing so, the Blue Wizards decide to back out because they don't want to support any of the Red Wizards' magics, proving that Sardoman worshippers are pretty fucking retarded. Zaramak forever. This was a particularly nice little piece of lore, I think, because, you know, the destruction of the Wizard's Tower, when I played RuneScape before, was always a mystery, so it's definitely worthwhile finally to know what actually happened here. And honestly, it is fun to see Sardoman worshippers kind of being portrayed in a little bit more negative light. In present day, though, Arian is now freed from her magical constraints, only to be struck by lightning moments later and is now incapacitated. So we have to go back up to the first floor of the Wizard's Tower and then get help for her from one of the wizards at the bottom of the Wizard's Tower. But let me tell you what, this dude is a double-crossing motherfucker. His name is Eleron, And he is actually the apprentice of one of the red wizards who survived the explosion of the original Wizard's Tower. And he's been raised to hate all other people, and his singular goal is to blow up the current day Wizard Tower in an act of revenge against the blue wizards who pulled out of the original ritual that blew up the Wizard's Tower. So this dude set Arian up specifically so that she'd be curious enough to go down there and investigate all these things, and for her to end up getting caught in this trap. He even wrote the diary that we found. So that's why that diary was so suspicious, is because it wasn't actually old. It was brand new, written by this dude, just to further confuse us. So now that we're at the climax of the quest, of course there has to be a glitch. The cutscene that introduces pretty much the final scene of the quest has this weird issue where the characters are too close to the camera, so they fade out of existence. And this is a really common bug from what I've heard in RuneScape 3. They need to fix this stat because it just totally ruins the tension that the moment's trying to create. Arian is now inside the first floor of the Wizard's Tower, and she has been forced to incorporate all the other souls of the old wizards that we've been interacting with in an attempt to overwhelm her and thus make her explode, destroying the new tower. Thankfully, we still have the runes that Arian gave it to us at the beginning of the quest, so we're able to reabsorb those souls that were within her. Again, I was being dumb at this part and didn't realize that I had to click on Arian herself. I was instead trying to click on the aura around her, so it took me an embarrassingly long time to get past this little part here. But as you start collecting more of the souls, Arian starts going up through the entire tower, and I just want to point out how different the Wizard's Tower is today compared to what it was back in the day. It's a lot taller, and the Lesser Demon isn't in a cage anymore. He's kind of suspended in mid-air. And it's a good graphical rework. It makes the Wizard's Tower feel a lot more imposing. However, once you get to the top of the Wizard's Tower and you've collected all the soul fragments, they decide that instead of wanting to reside within the runes themselves, that they want to go inside Elrond's body, and they force him to teleport to the plane that they use for teleportation spells, which is called the Abyss, presumably killing him pretty much as soon as he gets there. And that's the end of the quest. You talk to Arian again, and she just reiterates that she's happy to not be dead, and you get your rewards. So overall, I would say this was a pretty good quest. There's a few parts, of course, that I think could have been a little bit more complicated, but overall there's a lot of good lore added in here. And it was a pretty fun quest to play for sure. Not particularly difficult or anything like that, but fun. And some really pretty areas too. So I'm going to have to give this quest a 8 out of 10. I'll definitely play it again in a future playthrough. Yeah, in the comments below, let me know what you think about this quest if you've played it. And I'll see you next time.